This month we got banned from eBay, lost $200 in advertising, and still made profit. Let's break down what actually happened on Amazon, TikTok Shop and eBay, and why only one of these three platforms is performing for us. I've given myself some rules for this challenge. First of all, the monthly costs for this challenge cannot surpass $100. There are only two exemptions for this rule. The first one is if I run out of stock and I need new products, then I am allowed to order more products down the line to fill up my stock. And the second exemption is if I get much more for my investment. So let's say I spend $150 in advertising and it's guaranteed that I make $200 in return. So I made profit out of that investment, then I'm allowed to surpass the $100 rule. The $100 mark actually saves me from making bad decisions and investing too much money from my own pocket into the business. And that's the first thing you should learn as well, is if you start a business, it's totally fine if you invest in the first few months, maybe in the first year out of your own pocket, but that shouldn't come to the cost that you are just pouring into the business your personal money. Because after a certain period of time, every business should be able to provide for its own. And as I said, it's totally fine in the beginning if you invest monthly into that business, but down the line, it needs to be a sustainable business model. Well, let's come to our product again for those who don't know the type of this series. Well, in this series, we decided to start a business from scratch and sell Turkish coffee. Turkish coffee is like a specialty coffee. It's a niche product, and we wanted to sell it in a digital environment on digital platforms like Amazon, TikTok Shop and eBay. We also built our own website, but we will come later to that. If you want to know how I spotted the product and what the background story is, just watch this video over here. So it's been 3 months since then, and throughout this time period I've experimented with different pricing models. The golden spot I found was $14.99 for 200 grams of Turkish coffee. That's, by the way, compared to the biggest brands of Turkish coffee which are out there, 3 times their price. So our product is not cheap, but still we are working. Why? Because guys, we win with the best taste. And it took some time to convince the customers to actually buy the product, but 3 months in, as the title said, we made profit on one platform, and I want to share with you the experience. For you to understand, the competitors have a bad taste, they are almost burned, it's a really strong type of mocha and it's not really enjoyable, right? But our product is the perfect opposite to that. It's light, it's fluffy, it has a good taste, it has the perfect roast, and matter of fact, we also share how to prepare it the right way. And before I jump into our pricing structure, our revenue and our profit, I just want to show you how our value stream looks like. When it comes to value stream, many entrepreneurs get this wrong because they think, well, I buy this product for a certain price and I will sell it for much higher. But they miss to understand that the more intermediaries are in a process, on a value stream basis, the more expensive they're actually buying the product. And this is one of the most important things for a business owner to know, and this is why I create these kind of videos. So in terms of my coffee example, this is by the way the coffee I'm drinking at the moment. I drink it myself. So the coffee is originated in Brazil. Then it gets imported to Turkey, where a small roastery gets a portion of that. And I found that small roastery just by coincidence during a vacation, and I was just astonished how a good Turkish mocha can really taste. So for many years I was drinking that coffee on my own for my own happiness, let's say. As I started this kind of YouTube series and starting a business from zero, how to be successful, I gave myself the challenge, can I actually scale a product without really pouring money from my own funds into it? Because as most of you know, I'm a business owner of 6 different businesses. I work in a 9-to-5 environment, still in a corporate setting. I'm a manager and make a 6-digit income. And still I wanted to prove a point here, right? I wanted to prove that you can with the most simple business idea, start a business on your own as a side hustle and scale it to a $500 up to $1,000 profit a month type of business. You don't need a tech startup, you don't need any fancy stuff, you just need a product that you buy cheap and sell for a certain amount of profit, right? And this is exactly what we are doing over here. So after the small roastery gets the coffee beans from the importer in Turkey, they are handling the roast, they are handling the packaging, everything else. And next, I do import the products. I also do some private label stuff, some private label agreement that I can brand the coffee as my own. So I own the rights on that coffee at the moment. And the next step is then for me to sell on digital platforms. And for that, I use Amazon, eBay, TikTok Shop. I have my own website at the moment. So as I explained to you, the different value streams. So coffee originated in Brazil, imported to Turkey, getting roasted by a small roastery, and then getting imported to Germany, has also a big factor on our pricing at the moment, which is the reason why we are so expensive at the moment and still the people are buying. Overall, you can say we have roughly $5 in cost per unit. So this would actually mean $10 in profit if we would sell the product right away without a platform. But it doesn't work like that. So when you sell on Amazon, you have Amazon fees. When you sell it on TikTok, you have TikTok fees. When you sell it on your own website, you have also some providing fees like from PayPal or something like that. So everywhere you go, you have service fees. But if you would look at the bare minimum, we have $5 in cost per unit until that unit gets imported to Europe, to Germany. So there are also a very big cost factor in this calculation. Since our last part in part 2, we didn't have a website until then, but in the meantime I developed my own website as well, placed the product well, just to prove a point here, and I will come to that now. The main reason will sound logic to you at the moment as newbies in these type of businesses. I thought, well, let's reduce the dependencies on those platforms like Amazon, TikTok, and so on, and start our own website, start our own shop, so we pay much less in fees. Sounds logic at first, right? But I already knew the result, but I wanted to prove a point because this is a community experiment and I want to share with you the honest results. So I've built this website, which you can see at the moment, with the full shop logic, with accepting payments and stuff like that. Just everything is covered on that website. If you've ever tried to run a website by your own, you'll understand one thing. Traffic doesn't come automatically to your website. So you have different vehicles that you need to use, like search engine optimization you have to advertise maybe your website to get at least some traffic to it and stuff like that, right? And maybe you think at the moment, well, it sounds logical. Did Orkin solve this actually? And yes, I did solve it. I did search engine optimization, I advertised everything, but you have to know that getting attention in today's internet is almost impossible, especially if you are a new brand, because no one, literally no one, will go into Google and type at the moment Bosco Abi into the Google search engine. Why? Because they don't know the brand. They don't know the taste yet. They have no trust into the brand and towards me, which might hurt my feelings, but yeah, if you have to be rational, think of it for yourself. When was the last time you actually bought something out of the internet, especially in the groceries field, like coffee or stuff like that, from random brands that you didn't know, right? You had no trust towards them, you had no connection towards them, you've never heard from them before, and this is exactly the point why starting a website too early just costs money and time. And still I did an advertising experiment. I invested $100 in advertising just to show you one thing. So I've spent, as you can see over here, nearly $100, which is around 120 euros, and sold exactly 0 units of that product. And the reason I've explained to you. The customers have no trust towards the brand. They don't know us yet. So we will need that website, but we will need that in maybe 6 to 9 months down the line. And still, I wanted to show you because this is the most common mistake I see from new business owners, starting a website, spending hours, spending maybe thousands of euros or dollars into that, just to come to the conclusion that it was just money that was literally burned. So just typing the right keywords, using search engine optimization and paying for advertising is not enough. But still, I've gotten some clicks over here, as you can see. So what did we assume until now? So we said, well, it might be a trust issue towards us and towards the brand why the people don't buy. And assuming on this channel is not enough. I will share with you one method, which is called the customer journey. Well, the customer journey, it's a basic concept which has different phases that exactly show what the customer experiences before he buys a product and maybe down the line builds up a loyalty towards that product. It's very complex, but we will try to explain it as easy as possible for you to understand it. Please now pay close attention if you really want to be successful with your business. It doesn't matter what type of business, it doesn't matter what type of service or product, just pay close attention because the concept is always the same. So if we take a look at it, we can see that at the starting point, most of the times you need to be aware of a product. So then consider it maybe down the line and only then purchase it, right? So first comes awareness, then consideration, then the purchasing decision. If you then like the product down the line, maybe you become even loyal to it. The most important thing, when someone becomes aware of your product, right? So when you've got the attention, which is difficult also, this is stage 1. You need to master the second step between the awareness phase and the consideration phase. The step between that is called product research. Because in this whole process, we've talked about this already. What is this product and can I trust it and is it good? What does every normal human being do in the internet when you don't know a specific product or service? You're looking for reviews, right? You are looking for ratings. And this is especially powerful in digital marketing. But now comes the question, how can you get genuine feedback from real users towards your product? And this is where most businesses fail because they are too stubborn to accept the fact that what you can't deliver to the customer, a platform like Amazon, eBay, and TikTok can. So the difference here is when a customer browses through Amazon, he will stop maybe at your product and maybe click even on your product. The customer doesn't think of your product like a random brand because it's under the umbrella of Amazon. So there's already a basic level of trust there. It's the same if you go to a market. If you see a random product, you'll be probably more likely to buy that product if someone random on the street would walk up to you and will try to sell you a product which you don't know. And this is the difference here also. It's really a simple concept. For the beginning, although the platform fees are high, the advertising fees are high, it's the best deal you can do as someone who's just starting out your first business. Okay, now that we've built a website and understood that we were too early with it, we need to shift our focus towards the platforms, right? Let's start out with eBay. I will make it short. On eBay, we got banned. Let me tell you this. We were struggling with getting impressions on eBay, right? So what I wanted to do was to advertise the product, to get more impressions and that the platform earns a specific commission. That was my goal. But the problem was that eBay actually has an algorithm that only allows you to advertise your product if you are with your product and with your shop on a certain level of trust, so that the platform can trust you as a vendor as well. I signed up to their professional store for 3 months, paid $40 a month for it, and still I had low impressions, no sales, nothing. It was the same issue just continuing. I know from my other businesses that eBay has a great advertising option, but I needed to come because I wasn't allowed for this experiment just to use my other shops and my other leverages to get the eBay advertising as fast as possible. So what did I do? I called up some friends of mine, so some family members as well, and told them to buy the product and give a good review. At the end of the day, everyone can do that, right? So you have maybe 3 to 4 friends, 3 to 4 family members you can call, and then you have 10 reviews, and it's totally fine for the beginning. But we got caught. eBay did understand that these reviews were not genuine. We tried to trick the algorithm and we paid for it. And it was not right, but for this experiment I wanted to show you that always choosing the low-cost road will maybe lead to a higher damage towards your business. So the real issue here is that new stores aren't allowed to advertise, but in order to be able to sell your product, you need to advertise. This is a conflict, and as I said, I tried to solve it on my own. It didn't work out. And yeah, to be quite honest with you here, I did that because every brand does it like that. They just use an alternative approach. I would have used that alternative approach as well, but I had the rule to not pay more than $100 into that business unless it gives me a direct return. But in that case, it would have just not been right to trick you just for the sake of this video, right? So what do most brands do over here? So you have on Upwork or Fiverr different freelancing platforms. You can just take anything and find freelancers that especially offer these kind of services, leaving genuine reviews. You're paying them maybe $1,000, $2,000 a month, sending over products. Sometimes they don't even want the product, genuine reviews, and they will leave a good review. And they have especially customer or customer profiles in your region, in your target region, and you can pay them. So it's a no-brainer. Most brands do it like that. And for me, for this experiment, I didn't go down that road because it wouldn't be a genuine video. Therefore, I had to take the risk of calling family members and friends, and we got caught. So life's like that. But still, I know that eBay wouldn't be my primary platform to just sell coffee or Turkish coffee, because I said it's a specialty type of thing, and on eBay most people won't shop for groceries. TikTok Shop and Amazon are now a complete different story. Let's now proceed with TikTok Shop, because especially at the beginning of this challenge, I had so much hope and faith into the platform because TikTok is fresh, you can scale it, you combine visuals with e-commerce, you get advertising really cheap by different influencers, because you can literally cooperate with them by sending out samples for free, and the sample is not that expensive. They will shoot a video and give you their reach, right? Where your product gets promoted in different niches and categories and circles and communities. So in return, they get just a commission. You don't have to pay them upfront. This is really a big thing which TikTok Shop provides. So when some creator does a sale through an affiliate link, then they get a commission. If there is no sale, there is no commission. Easy as that. And that sounded great at the beginning, because scaling and community reach for almost nothing sounds like a dream. But you can see over here, in the last 28 days, we sold only 2 products for a total of $16.73. This is with discounts. These are really bad results, especially if you compare it to the amount of samples we sent out to our customers. 25 samples we sent out. To be honest, just 1 or 2 creators got good results. The other ones weren't even worth a sample. On top of that, you might think, well, isn't there an advertising option on TikTok as well? Yes, there is, and I've paid $100 to prove a point here as well. It got exactly no sales again. So what do we learn from that? One thing is clear. TikTok Shop, we are currently doing something wrong. It's not the platform, it's not the product. I think it has to do something with the setting. To be honest, I didn't get out the handle of TikTok Shop in the last 3 months and how to place the product like Turkish mocha and how to get sales over there, because TikTok is really visual and the creators did also some good videos, but as said, they didn't get the results. So I have to just think again and optimize my approach over there. But for the sake of this experiment, I will not give up on TikTok Shop. I will come back and tackle it. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 months, we will have different results. That brings us to the last platform which we will talk about, Amazon. And I have to really say, Amazon is performing much better than the whole rest. Over the last 14 days, I managed to get 15 orders. And by the time I was shooting this video, I also had 5 or 6 extra orders just in a few days. That's actually quite big, especially if you consider over the last few months my challenges with Amazon. I was struggling to keep up my store over there. And now the question really becomes, how did I solve all these problems? Well, there is one secret most people ignore when selling on Amazon or TikTok or everywhere. On Amazon you have a so-called new seller's guide. You have to do that as fast as possible, because at the end of the day, what does Amazon want to do? They want you on board, right? But to their terms, to the things where they say a new seller must do this, and they gave you a new seller guide which is optional, but it's highly recommended. Just for the transparency in this video and just so you know it, you have to enroll in brand registry, which is around $300 in Europe. And yes, we had the $100 rule, but $300 in order to be able to sell on the platform, in order to get a return on invest from that. This is allowed. Second is you have to get customer reviews from Amazon Wine. So Amazon Wine you can think of like TikTok Shop, where you cooperate with creators, but on Wine you cooperate with customers, with trusted customers who give you genuine reviews. It's simple, you just send out free samples to the customers and you get reviews for that. And that's exactly what I said at the beginning, what you need as a new business. Whilst on eBay, I tried to solve this point on my own and got caught because I called my family and friends for that. Amazon just has a whole program to solve this issue, and it's great. I've got 3 5-star reviews and 1 3-star review. That's also a good mix because, as said, it's genuine. The 3-star review said that they tested it with multiple people. Just one person out of the group, who was the wine customer, didn't like the coffee because it was too light, it was too fluffy. She said she liked more a burnt taste, and we offer no burnt taste coffee. I guess that's a point for us then. And yes, she said also that we also are very expensive, and as I tried to explain to you, we have this high pricing structure because our coffee is freshly ground. It's not sitting on shelves for months and years. It's just fresh. I could easily fix this by spending $5,000 into new stocks, but then I wouldn't ensure the freshness at the moment. Down the line, maybe, when I'm doing sales, let's say 1,000 a month or something like that, then I can just buy more and offer it for a little bit cheaper. But at the moment, when we have low units, quality over quantity. Quality beats everything down the line, because I know it from my own experience. I was importing that product, that Turkish coffee, just for my own consumption, and I was willing to pay a premium because I wanted that good mocha taste. Next on the seller guide, you will find the so-called sponsored products. These are advertising placements. Everyone knows it when you shop on Amazon or on any e-commerce site. It's not only Amazon. Then you see recommended by this and this, or you have a flag with advertising. And this is exactly how products get placed in a much better light. And to be honest, this is the biggest leverage on any platform. You can think, well, that's not fair. You can think that this is cheating, but it's not, because at the end of the day, you're paying the platform, which allows you to reach new customers for a premium spot on their pages. that people actually see your product, get aware of your product. If you remember our customer journey, it's the first phase, awareness. Your main goal must be to build up a true loyal customer base. But for that, as said, step 1, awareness, step 2, consideration, and then the purchasing decision. And here also comes to shine the difference between normal people and influencers. Because people, from my point of view, have a wrong expectation of e-commerce. They think just because some influencer published a product or promoted a product and they get millions out of it, that they can do the same. But these are two different games. The influencer already has a community base. And here again comes one term which we talked about, trust. They are trusting the influencer. Although they don't know the product, they know him or her. They don't know you, they don't know me. So why would they buy your product or my product? We have to go a different road. Because maybe it's clear to you guys, but I wanted to explain this again. I get asked a lot. What does it get me when I'm just pouring my money into advertising again? I need to keep that profit. Well, you are a business owner to reinvest it. You have to grow it. You have to build a loyal customer base. If you don't do that, you just can't stop your business and start working 9 to 5 again. The most important thing when it comes to investing money into the business is that you don't overpay from your own pocket into the business all the time. This is the most important thing, and this is why also we have the $100 rule in this channel to prove to you it's not luck. You can start a business and scale it up. Let's come to the question which I'm sure every one of you is excited about. How much profit did we actually make? Well, we sold 15 orders. And those 15 orders were already in the profit zone. As you may remember in our last video, we were already close to our break-even point with our first batch of units, and we broke the break-even point already. We surpassed it. Now, every other product from that same batch, one batch has 50 units by the way, is just profit for us. So the following stuff gets really important for calculating the product stuff and financials and stuff like that. I will try to explain it as easy as it gets. So in total, we pay for our product, including material costs, packaging, taxes and stuff like that, $200 for 50 units. It's $4 a unit, and we'll sell a product unit for $15. So we need to sell only more than 13 products to be in a positive zone compared to what we are paying for the product itself. After that's covered, we could have profit right away, but the most important thing we left out, and these are additional costs from platforms like packaging, advertising, the platform fees, and so on and so forth. But for the sake of simplicity, let's keep that example and say, so we have 37 units in a profit zone. We've calculated the material cost out, which we are selling for $15 a unit, which is then in total $555, because 37 times 15 or $14.99 is $555. And if you use fulfillment by Amazon, which I use, it's $5 a unit. Fulfillment by Amazon is you send them over the product, they store it, and they handle all of the transfer to the end customer and so on and so forth. So $5 a unit, we said we have 37 units which could be in the profit zone. This would be an additional cost of $185 if you use Amazon FBA. This includes shipment, packaging, storage, so a full service for your product. So even if I would say, well, let me handle it all by myself, it would be very hard to beat Amazon's pricing structure. The last position to mention is advertising. We had around $100 which we spent on this platform also over the last month. So if we now do the math, $555 in revenue we set for 37 units, right? And we have, if we sum everything up, $330 in total cost. We have a profit of $225 just in profit. So in Germany, you roughly have 50% in income tax. This heavily varies, of course, depending on your income level. Mine is nearly 50%, unfortunately. And yeah, for $225 in profit, I would keep around $110. And guys, if I can't give you any tip for you out there just starting out at the moment, just open up a second bank account. Directly transfer every time 50% of your revenue or your profit into that second bank account just to keep your taxes safe aside. And now some of you may think, well, $110 in profit for all this effort which this guy talked about the last minutes, is it even worth it? Well, don't forget that this was only one batch with 50 units, right? So it's a very small volume. That $110 enabled me, without touching my own money from my own pocket, to invest into the business because it's the business profit. With that, I can buy even more units, and if this strategy plays out, we've started the business which makes us $500 a month in profit. And we started it from literally zero. So don't look only on the small numbers. They will grow down the line. And down the line, you'll optimize your pricing structure, you'll optimize and handle everything else. So for a side business, as said, this is actually quite good. But the cool thing about this series is we will discover together how it will play out down the line. I talked a lot about profits and stuff like that before I forget it, and it's good that I remembered it. If you're interested in how I calculated that break-even point, so after which point I really make profit and how I calculated that for small business volume, just type in the comment section down below break-even, and I exactly know what to cover in one of my upcoming videos. If you're interested in that, just let me know. What's now important for me is your opinion. What do you think about this business? Do you think it's worth it? Type it in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I see you next Thursday. Bye.